John Dick, founder and CEO of CivicScience. Welcome and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, Christopher. Good to be back.
Why is this happening? Why is it that I can't look at myself and say, ooh, this button's about to bust? I have to say, well, whatever it is, I'm no John Dick. You see that guy? You know, come on.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, we're living in a decades-long social experiment the likes the world's never seen. It started with social media. It evolved into sort of the Trump era of politics. Then COVID comes along, and we watch sort of the cocktail of those things, and we're just now beginning to have enough time, enough distance, and enough data to understand what that's doing to people and what's done what it's done to us collectively. Now, whether it's changed us or whether it's allowed sort of our kind of natural inclinations to sort of be expressed, maybe we won't know that just yet. But yeah, I mean, it's led us to this place of, you know, we talk about tribalism certainly from the kind of its political roots, but it's the tentacles of that are touching every element of our socioculture, our commercial culture, and we're just now starting to see it. And I think a lot of people, when you bring these things up to them, you get a nod of acknowledgement, like, yeah, that's probably happening to me too.
As long as they're not in opposition to you. You know, a while ago, as I said, I speak to John on a regular basis. And I was talking about the game. And John's like, you're right about the game. Be careful about the chicken and egg analysis, though, because it's not like politicians invented this. You know, this is a part of our cultural experiment, as he referred. And 65%, I like this chart, 65% of people say, I never post on social media just to post to impress friends or improve my stature, but 83% say they think their friends do. Now, what does that tell you?
Well, first of all, it tells me that the chart on the right, the your friends chart's probably closer to the ground truth. Look, we all do it to some degree of consciousness and to some degree of severity. Those of us on social media, look, it is not, and I've heard you say this over and over again, you've told me this sort of, you know, off camera as well, that social media is not real life. And I know you mean that a lot of times from sort of the measuring of the political dialogue, but it's not real life in any way, shape, or form. We consciously or not post our best pictures, hide the ugly ones. We talk about our high achieving kids. We take pictures on our beautiful vacations, right? We do that. And again, is it explicitly sort of manipulating to show off how great my life is? No, but those are the things we like to show off. And most people intellectualize that. I mean, where it gets really problematic is the people who don't intellectualize that. And it can have a really negative impact on mental health and cause, you know, people who watch their friends on social media living these lavish, beautiful, perfect lives with their high-achieving kids and their perfect marriages that don't understand to take that all with a grain of salt, they find themselves thinking, wow, my life isn't so great. My marriage isn't so great. My kids aren't so great. And that's where it gets really particularly pernicious in this case. I do want to go back quickly to the kind of overweight data that you showed earlier, which, you know, we know again, of course, people aren't losing weight. I do think there's a positive spin potentially of maybe being less self-critical isn't necessarily a bad thing for us, right? And our mental health as well. I mean, is it real or not? Probably not, but generally people not being quite as hard on themselves maybe in a vacuum isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Well, I think the step after that in terms of ameliorating the condition, the social condition we're in, is negativity as a proxy for insight, period. You know, it used to be that a critique of a restaurant was, I like the pizza, John liked this salad with the chicken on top, neither of us like this one pasta dish though. It was balanced. Now, if I say I like CivicScience, people are going to be Googling, does Cuomo own a piece of CivicScience? Why was he so nice? If you say something positive, you're weak. If you say something negative, you're strong. And I think that's something that we're really battling with right now that we see acutely in our politics. Because they come out and they say, look, we're seeing with the Trump and Biden thing over the documents, right? Their staff's both knuckleheads. They should have never left with those documents. And I have a suspicion if you go to just about every president, you'll probably find something they're not supposed to have. But that's not what the law is about. And it's just a political game of gotcha that's based on negativity. The question is there an antidote?
Yeah, I mean, the antidote, unfortunately, is getting further and further away, and the antidote is empathy. And the more we self-select ourselves into groups that look like us and reflect the ideal versions of ourselves, which is what social media allows us to do, right? 45% of Americans have unfriended somebody over politics. Unfriended. Not chosen not to watch a news show or chosen not to shop at a store, but have actually unfriended people they disagreed with. And so we're getting further and further away from that. And meanwhile, we're our friendships are in decline, our relationships are in decline because we're maybe not going to work, we're staying at home more often, so we're not even exposing ourselves to people with different viewpoints and living different lives to gain that empathy. So empathy is the only answer. I mean, maybe this kind of conversation has to start with some kind of acknowledgement and self-admission of like, yeah, I do those things, and maybe I should try to improve on that behavior or correct it. But until people can get over that hump and have empathy for the quote others that right now are being vilified from the left and the right, the antidote's pretty far away, I'm afraid.
Hey, thank you for watching. Please go to newsnationnow.com, newsnationnow.com, and you can find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button down below. Then you will get more of NewsNation's fact-driven coverage.